Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Can't Wait Wednesdays here on the KB Radio Network. This is the show where we preview upcoming TV and movie releases of the week. How are we doing, everybody? We have finally arrived to the weekend that I've been anticipating since they announced these release dates of these films. And I was wondering what was going to happen this week with these two big releases that are coming out in theaters this week. And is somebody going to move, even though these are two different films, audience wise, it's still going to kind of dig into each other's box office. Now, with that being said, the box office hasn't been kind this summer. It's been kind of a lackluster summer, with the exception of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. There really hasn't been that blockbuster movie to just take control of the summer seasons this year. It is weird because all these films, highly anticipated films that has came out in the past 3 months, I thought it was going to be like a murderer's row, but it hasn't. Audiences have stayed away from the theater for the most part, which is weird. It's very weird because there have been some good movies, some really good movies to come out this summer, and me personally, I've enjoyed this summer. Yeah, it hasn't been a perfect film that I've seen so far, but there have been some exciting, fun films in the theater. And I think a lot of these films need to be seen in the theater. I know a lot of people wait till they come on streaming services in another month or two, and that's part of the reason. That's part of the problem. People are waiting it out. Like, okay, I'll just wait till it come on HBO Max or Peacock or Paramount Plus in another couple of months, or on Netflix in another couple of months, because it's such a quick turnaround, and it's hurting the box office, I believe. But I still champion the theatrical experience. It's no other feeling like it to experience these films. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning need to be seen in the theater. The Flash, for all of its flaws and diverse reactions to it, I think needed to be seen in a theater. It adds to the experience. I don't care how big of a TV you have and how much how large of a sound system you have in your house. Is nothing like sitting in that theater and feeling the movie and feeling the reactions of everybody else who's in there with you. It's a different type of experience. But that's just my opinion. I try to support it as much as I can. I go to the theater. I do. Even a couple of years ago when they were doing that day and day release on on Max and the theaters, I would try to go to the theaters to see it, and just to support the theaters. I just love the theatrical. Just for me, that's just my personal opinion. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about these films and these TV shows that are coming out this week that we just can't wait for. Now, there are two that are in the theater. I start off the show talking about this weekend. We're going to get to that last, but we have a couple of pieces of content that will be on streaming this weekend. Starting off with Max on Thursday, this Thursday, July the 20th, we have Superpowered, the DC story, and it is a documentary. And if you're a DC nut like me, comic book fanatic like me, this is for you. This is a documentary, as I said, narrated by Rosario Dawson. Superpowered, the DC story, takes an unprecedented look at the enduring and influential legacy of DC, allowing fans to rediscover the universe of characters as well as the iconic comic book company's origins, its evolution, and its nearly 9-decade cultural impact across every artistical medium. super powered the DC story drops on Max this Thursday, July the 20th. I am excited for this. I saw the trailer for this last week, I think it was. And I was like, man, that's quick. I didn't I wasn't anticipating this. It's I've said it on this show time and time and time and time again, but I am a huge DC. If I had to pick between the two, the two major ones, DC and Marvel, I would most likely go with DC. One, it has my favorite character, comic book character, in Batman, and two, I just enjoy the stories more. But uh, fortunately for me and everybody else, I don't have to choose. I like them all. I love I love Marvel as well. There's not a knock on Marvel. Love Marvel, but DC is, I guess, where I fell in love with comics. I actually started reading Marvel first. The first comic book I ever read was a Captain America book, but I fell in love with DC comics, and I think that was with some of the help of watching Superman the movie, and the Batman, not the Batman, but Batman from 1989, and all this here. It was more exposure to DC than it was to Marvel. Now, Marvel came along in the 90s when they did start making some movies, not too good, but also the animated series. They were killing it in the animation game. You had the Fantastic Four series, you had the Invincible Iron Man, you had, oh my God, X-Men, the animated series. I mean, the list goes on and on. They were killing it in the animation game. But DC was not to be outdone. They came with the Batman animated series, and the rest is history. But we get to experience all of DC going back to its history till now with Superpowered the DC story on Max this Thursday, July the 20th. Fast forwarding to Sunday, this upcoming Sunday, July the 23rd, we have a spy thriller that is dropping on Paramount Plus, and it is a series from the creator of Yellowstone and Tulsa King, none other than Taylor Sheridan, and it is Special Ops Lioness. And this looks good. It has a lot of good talent with it, and it has Taylor Sheridan, and that's a real plus. Huge fan of Taylor Sheridan, even though I haven't watched Yellowstone, and I'm just haven't got into it. Never tried, to be honest with you. It just never appeared to me, but everybody loves it who watches it, so I mean, it must be good. I just never got around to actually diving into it. But all his other work, I'm a huge fan of. I love his films, Hell or High Water. What was the one with Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen? Wind River, I think it was. Yeah, I love that. He's an awesome mind when it comes to creating movies and television shows. And this particular show, Special Ops Lioness, might just fall into the good category with Taylor Sheridan with me. It stars Zoe Saldana, Morgan Freeman, Nicole Kidman, Michael Kelly, and so many more. And the premise of Special Ops Lioness, a female Marine is tasked with befriending the daughter of a suspected terrorist who is being surveyed by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, aka the CIA. And I want to see this new turn for Zoe Saldana. We just saw her in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, as well as Avatar: The Way of Water a few months back. And so now we get to see her in her actual skin, acting. So that's a plus, but she is a phenomenal actress. So I am excited to see her lead this TV show along with all this other talent that is, packed with talent here. And it's an interesting story. So Special Ops Lioness drops on Paramount Plus this Sunday, July the 23rd. I plan to check this out. It looks very, very interesting. And what more can I ask for? Our last streaming show or movie that is something that Man, I've been waiting on this. I've been waiting on this, and it was supposed to come out last year, I believe, but it was pushed back. I could be wrong, but I remember watching a trailer for this like a year and a half ago. It's been a while, and all of a sudden it just disappeared. I didn't hear anything else about it, and like it was scrubbed from the face of the earth. But we are finally getting it this Friday on Netflix. They cloned Tyrone. This looks bananas, nuts, crazy, out of this world. Just I don't know. I don't know what adjectives I can put on this, but it looks wild, but it looks interesting as I don't know what. It is a science fiction comedy mystery, and it stars John Boyega, Teyana Paris, and Jamie Foxx, who also produced this film. Prayers up for Jamie Foxx. I hope that he is recovering well from whatever his mental condition was a couple of months ago. I mean, they are very tight-lipped with what happened with Jamie Foxx. You get conflicting reports from his daughter, from his, I guess, publicist or whoever. I don't know. But there is no word of his condition. No, we haven't seen him. I remember maybe about a week ago on Twitter, somebody had a video of like him on a boat and he waved at people, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, he's all right." And then they analyzed the video; it wasn't him. Uh, it was like, "Oh come on, man! Now y'all playing, or was he a clone? I don't know." But either way it goes, this movie. The premise of it is a series of eerie events thrust an unlikely trio onto the trail of a nefarious government conspiracy in this pulpy mystery caper. It looks just obscure as I don't know what. It has a mixture of the 70s black exploitation films from that era, some satire, maybe even some horror. I don't know. It just looks crazy, but I'm all for it. Um, I'm all for it because I love everyone involved here. Jamie Foxx is awesome when he commits. He is awesome. John Boyega is awesome. Tiana Paris rather is awesome. I'm all for this, and plus it's kind of a different film from the black perspective. You know, you don't see black folks in a science fiction comedy film like this. So this is a different turn, different take, and I'm all for that. They Clone Tyrone will drop on Netflix this Friday, July the 21st. I can't wait for this. I am so excited. With all this coming out this weekend, I am super. This is probably my most anticipated of the weekend. I'm not going to lie. But it's up against some stiff, and I mean stiff competition in the theaters, that is. And this was, as I said to open the show, the heavyweight championship bout that I was anticipating. I thought one of these movies would move their dates. I thought that maybe they did something wrong. Maybe it was a misprint that they were both coming out on the same day. But then when I did some research, I found out why. And we have two films coming out in theaters this weekend. The first one is Barbie, and the second one is Oppenheimer. And granted, this is the sheer definition of counter programming. One has absolutely nothing to do with the other. One is aimed at a completely different audience than the other, but I think everybody wants to see both of these movies because both of them look exciting. Barbie has no business being on my radar. None. But I am so excited. I want to see this so bad. And any man, and yes, I'm challenging all the men out there. If any man fix their mouth to say, man, I don't care to see this, they're lying. They're lying. They want to see this. It's something about this movie that has everybody's interest. I can't explain it. I can't put them into words. I don't know. I don't know why, but I want to see Barbie. Barbie is a fantasy comedy film written and directed by Greta Gerwig, and it stars Margot Robbie as Barbie and Ryan Gosling as Ken. But they aren't the only Barbies and Kens in this film. You have, as far as the Barbies are concerned, you have Kate McKinnon, Issa Rae, Alexandra Shipp, Emma McKee, and many more. There's like 20 of them here. And for the Kens, you also have Kingsley Ben-Adir, Simu Liu, Scott Evans, John Cena, and many, many more. Also starring in this film, you have America Ferrera, Rhea Perlman, and Will Ferrell as the CEO of Mattel. And the premise of Barbie, after being expelled from the utopian Barbie land for being less than perfect dolls, Barbie and Ken go on a journey of self-discovery together into the real world. I just want to see this movie. I'm all in on this movie, man. Plus, I really have to go see it because my daughter, my daughter's, at least my youngest daughter, she made it a point. I don't care what we doing this weekend. We're going to see Barbie. Even if I had tickets, which I do, to Oppenheimer, she's making sure that we go see Barbie this weekend. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So it is what it is. But she really didn't have to make that threat, because I was gonna go anyway. We're always gonna go anyway. Can't wait for this film. Barbie drops in theaters this Friday, July the 21st, but it won't be alone. It will have Oppenheimer to contend with. Oppenheimer is directed by Christopher Nolan, and the reason that I hinted to before why these two films are coming out on the same day is because of Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan used to work with Warner Brothers. All of his films were through Warner Brothers. But when Warner Brothers did that day and day release during the pandemic and kind of disrespected the filmmakers by doing so, Christopher Nolan didn't take too kindly to it. So he left Warner Brothers and he went over to Universal Pictures, which is where Oppenheimer now currently lives. So out of pettiness and spite, Warner Brothers, who is distributing Barbie, felt to drop that at the same day as a kind of a FU to to Christopher Nolan. And that's the reason why you have these two movies coming out on the same day, in case you was wondering. And it's crazy because that was the last regime before the merger. So the new people over at Warner Brothers, I think they wrote a letter to Christopher Nolan and apologized and all this other stuff, trying to get him back over at Warner Brothers, after he finished with all the Oppenheimer stuff. But I think that bridge is burnt. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. But yeah, man, we have Oppenheimer, and oh man, this looks so amazing, and it's Christopher Nolan. I mean, come on, man. In case you don't know what Oppenheimer is about J. Robert Oppenheimer, a physicist who was pivotal in developing the first nuclear weapon as part of the Manhattan Project. Starring as Oppenheimer, we have Cillian Murphy, along with him in an ensemble. I mean, a stacked ensemble cast. You have Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, Josh Hartnett, Casey Affleck, Remy Malek, Kenneth Branagh, and many, many more. This looks amazing. It was shot in IMAX, shot with IMAX cameras, so it is perfectly made for IMAX. This is the example I was talking about earlier about films you need to see in theaters. This film was made for theaters. They're real this is all practical. Christopher Nolan doesn't deal with special effects. He doesn't do CGI, only if necessary, but it's very minimal. But everything that he does is practical. So all the explosions, the man wanted to actually detonate a nuclear bomb, but they would, people wouldn't allow it. you can't, you can't do that for just for a film. But he really wanted to do it. But he used real explosions and real. I mean, it looks authentic. It looks beautifully made. The cinematography, everything. I'm just going by the trailers. I am super excited for Oppenheimer. It will explode into theaters this Friday, July the 21st. Man, this is going to be an interesting weekend. I want to see what will come out on top. It's gonna be fun, man. This is gonna be a fun weekend to watch the numbers like I do. I'm a nut for that. So this is more exciting than the actual movie to see who will come out on top at the end of the weekend. But to recap the new releases of the week, you have Superpowered, the DC story, dropping on Max this Thursday, July the 20th. Special Ops Lioness, starring Zoe Saldana, will drop on Paramount Plus this Sunday, July the 23rd. This Friday on Netflix, we have Jamie Foxx, Tiana Paris, and John Boyega, and they clone Tyrone. Also this Friday, we have the heavyweight championship bout between Barbie, starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, and Oppenheimer, a film directed by Christopher Nolan, dropping in theaters this Friday, July the 21st. Which one are you excited about? Wow. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. Like I said, I already have tickets to Oppenheimer, and I've already been threatened with my life about going to see Barbie, so I'm going to see both this weekend. This is a 2-movie weekend. Honestly, it shouldn't be a competition because these are 2 different movies. It ain't like it's the same type of movie. And it's not like 2 superhero movies going head to head on the same weekend. Then I can see it kind of being like, okay, I got to pick one. I can't just watch 2 superhero movies back to back. I can understand that. But in the event of, a fantasy comedy and a biopic, I think you can make time for both of them because they both look good in their own right. But I want to know what you plan to do this weekend. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on Twitter at KB Radio Network, and on other social media platforms, just look up the KB Radio Network. Also look up the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video on YouTube if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you are currently listening to Can't Wait Wednesdays here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me. Have a good weekend. Hope you enjoy all these new TV shows and movies coming out this week. I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love one another. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.